Ticket number 8323. Update Performance Target PFD to PFH when in continuous mode. So if we come to Instrument Systems and the SealCalc Architecture template, if we come to the Demand mode and come to Continuous Demand, Save Changes, we then have a pending seal calculation. So we'll run that now. We'll wait for those calculations to run. Now that they're complete, if we come to the Performance tab, we can see that the PFD column header here for the ratings has changed to PFH, and this target value has changed also as per the ticket requirements. So it's the PFD value multiplied by the demand rate multiplied by years over 8760 hours. So the demand rate can be found in the General tab, just here. But if we come back to Performance, we have an achieved PFH value of 1.34 e to the negative 7 being pulled through. Let me show you where that is. It's coming from the value here, the governing result source, which is design basis failure rate. Design basis failure rate, if we come across to our total PFH, 1.34 e to the negative 7, the same as we have here, 1.34 e to the negative 7. The in-service PFH, if we come back again to our SealCalc Architecture tab, scroll down to the prior use, come across to the PFH, 2.14 e to the negative 5, and we have 2.14 e to the negative 5 in here. These changes can be found in the SIS Overview, Performance and the SLM Design SRS templates. Ticket number 14676. SIF SLM Design SRS LOPA Module References Table. So we've added a column for the initiating cause descriptions for an initiating cause object in the LOPA references table, and changes have been made to the SLM Design SRS template. When the reference source field of a SIF object is set to risk graph, the SLM Design SRS template contains the fields PHA reference, hazard description and demand source. If the reference source is changed to LOPA, then these three fields will be replaced with related LOPA PHA data. So if we come to Instrumented Systems, select a SIF, look at the Overview tab. In the LOPA References table, we have an initiating cause description. If we come to the Hazard References tab, the reference source is risk graph at the moment. So if we come to the SLM Design SRS tab, we can see we have PHA references, hazard description and demand source. If we come back to the Hazard References tab and we change the source to LOPA, and come back to the Design SRS, we can see that those three fields have been replaced with related LOPA data. Ticket number 16496, CAS score improvements. So we've made improvements to the conformance assessment score. So three of the areas previously were not dynamic if the user was adding new categories and scores. So if we just scroll down and have a look at some of the screenshots in the ticket, if the user added a new category previously, it was not showing up in the category legend. The new category again would not be showing in this CAS breakdown chart. It was just showing the hard-coded 4 original categories. And the same goes for the overall CAS chart here. If the user was to add additional scores, the y-axis was hard-coded and was not changing dynamically. If we come to the System module and we come to the drop-downs, come to the competency categories, if we add a new option, just call it Test 1, Test 1, we'll have a background color, a kind of red. Text color can be white. I have a list order of 3. Save changes. If we then come to the references table, filter on checklist conformance. We then filter for FSA HAZOP checklist. If we edit this third row, change the CAS category to test 1, which we just created. There we can see the category test 1. We then come back to the modules dashboard. We come to drop downs. We filter for CAS score. Let's add a new option in here. Option key can be 4. Value super excellent. List order of 4. Save changes. If we then come to an FSA, come to the checklists, click on our HAZOP verification checklist. We can see there that the CAS score category legend now has test 1 in there, which you can see from the color charts is here, item 1.03. We then give that a CAS score of super excellent, which we've just added. Save changes. If we then click on the SIS and look at the KPI CAS overview tab, we have our new CAS category, test 1. We have the CAS score of 4, which we set as super excellent. If you look at the y-axis for the overall CAS for SIS 123, we have the 5th option there that we've added for the CAS score. Previously this was hard-coded, so it wasn't dynamic at all. But now as you add more CAS scores, the y-axis changes accordingly. Ticket number 16497. Self-assessment disabling within the FSAs. So if we come to the Functional Safety Assessments module and we select an FSA, we now have a flag here for no self-assessment performed. So at present, if we click on the self-assessment, step 1, we can see that we've got checklists for HAZOP and LOPA verification. And if we come to the FSA checklists here, and we click on LOPA verification, for example, we can see that we have a section here for the self-assessment. So if we now come back to the workflow and change no self-assessment performed to yes, save changes. If we now click on the self-assessment, step 1, we can see that we've got no checklists there at all. If we come to step 4, the FSA checklist, and go to LOPA verification again, we can see the self-assessment columns have been removed. And if we open the FSA final reports, beforehand, we can see here that we have the self-assessment columns. If we open the report where they've been disabled, we can see that there's no self-assessment columns. Ticket number 16519. Port over SIS Audit Printout report to Chromium Printout. If we come to the FSA module, come to the SIS Audit Printout, select our site and the SIS Audit ID, generate report, save. If we open the report and have a scroll through, we can see that everything is displaying correctly. Ticket number 16521. Update to the SLM usage report. So we're removing the asterisk on the device count, the language that goes with it, and the red text, and we're adding the SLM version number. So if we come to the system module, we come down to licensing and the usage details. If we update report, if we now download and open the report, we can see the asterisk has been removed from the device count and all of the red text, and we now have the SLM version number in there as well. Ticket number 16538, Relief System Protected Equipment Table not saving. So when trying to add any protective equipment to the Relief System device, we get a system error. So if we come to the Relief System module, click on this Relief System, we come to the Protected Equipment. If we now add equipment, let's add this boiler, save changes. We can see that that is saved without any errors. So if we come to the global module, we come to the unit and we come down and look at the equipment list within the gas tab unit. We can see that the boiler exists in there now as well.